What's up guys, Corbin Phillips here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 ways to take your putting to the next level. The first thing to consider when trying to take your putt to the next level is form. And what's interesting about putting compared to other shots in disc golf, like maybe your backhand tee shot or your forehand approach, is that putting doesn't actually have a quote-unquote correct form. There's many different ways to do it, and many different players putt in different ways, and that's okay. And what that means for us is we really just need to find a form that we're comfortable with and consistent with, and also a form that can minimize variables. So some people might putt with a straddle stance, some might with a split stance. Maybe you putt with your nose up or nose down. Maybe you do a spin putt, or maybe you do a push putt. And all those things are totally okay. Each has their own advantages and disadvantages. And so really you need to figure out what works for you. For me personally, I putt with a split stance. I putt with my nose angled down just a little bit. And I do a little bit of a mix between a spin and push putt. That's what I'm most comfortable with. That's what I'm most consistent with. And so I do that for the majority of the putts when I'm out on the course. As far as minimizing variables, really what you're trying to do is get this circular piece of plastic from where you're at into the basket. And typically, unless there's an object in your way, that's going to be a straight line. And so what we want to do is with our putting stroke, we want to take away any left to right movement or right to left movement, because that's taking away from this straight line we're trying to go to and will make us much more inconsistent. So if we're able to take all of our energy and have it go from down to up and backwards to forwards, we're going to be able to push this disc into that straight line and have a lot of consistency in getting it into the basket. So now that you've dialed in your form and figured out what you want to do, the next step is to practice your form. And there's 2 ways we can do this, and that's through block practice and random practice. What block practice is it's shooting a higher number of reps from very specific distances. So that might look like 10 shots from 10 feet, 20 feet, and 30 feet. And the reason we do this is because it really builds up your muscle memory. By doing lots of these reps from these specific distances, your body really learns what it feels like to putt with your form at these different distances. So it becomes second nature when you're out there on the course. But when you're out there on the course, you're often not going to find yourself at exactly 20 feet or exactly 10 feet or 30 feet. You'll probably be at 27 feet or 14 feet. And so what do you do then? And that's why random practice is so important. Random practice is just doing a couple of reps from lots of different random distances, so then you're able to practice what it's actually going to be like on the course. So a couple of ways that you can practically do these 2 types of putting practice are for block putting. I like to use this app called Perfect Putt 360. I believe it's $4.99 on the App Store, and basically what it has you do is you take 10 putts from 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet, 25 feet, and 30 feet, and then you do that all again for a total of 100 putts. And then you get a score based off how many you made, if you made the first and last of each set, and then also if you made all 10 from a set, you get bonus points as well. This is a fun way to really track your progress and see how much more you're making, and also it's just a fun way to be competitive, which keeps the putting practice interesting. Also, if you don't want to pay for the app, UDisc has a free putting practice feature. And basically you take 5 putts from 3 different spots in circle 1 and 3 different spots in circle 2, and you can record it there. And that's another great way to do block putting. As far as random practice, I like to really just walk around with my 2 putters and just pick spots and putt from there. Sometimes if you're at an actual course, you can go to spots you think your disc may land in a round and practice putting from there, just move around. And that's a great way to practice it, but also another great way is if you go 150 feet away from the basket and then you just throw 10 up shots, you just go to where they ended up and and you putt from there. 2 shots each is another great way to practice random putting. The third thing you need to do if you want to level up your putting is analyze your mistakes. Really, this comes down to just knowing your form well, because if you know all the intricate details of your putting stroke, you're gonna know when you're doing something differently. And if you can quickly recognize that difference, then you're gonna be able to correct it and cause way less missed putts, which will help your score drastically and just create so much more consistency. The other thing you should do is during a round, you need to be able to recognize what your miss is on the day. Sometimes you're gonna be missing high, sometimes you're gonna be missing right, even when you feel like you're doing your form like you normally would. And if you can recognize that, you can slightly tweak where you're aiming at, and then you're gonna be able to make a lot more putts. The fourth thing that I think will help every disc golfer become a better putter is having a consistent pre-putt routine. And the reason this is important is because by doing the exact same thing before every putt, we're actually triggering muscle memory so that we have the highest likelihood of doing exactly what our specific putting form is. One of the stupidest mistakes I've seen while playing tournaments, myself included, is rushing a putt because you feel like it's easy. So where you skip over your pre-putt routine, you end up not doing your normal putting style, and then you miss a super short putt. This is a really bummer of a stroke to grab, and so by staying consistent, not rushing your putt, and doing your pre-putt routine, even before what feels like an easy putt, you're gonna be able to save yourself some strokes. Now that we've covered these first 4 steps of really dialing in what we're actually doing with the putting, this last step, which I think is really important, is the mental side, what you're thinking about when you're putting. And what I do is I think about one key thing for each step of the progression of my putt. So before I even reach my lie, I look at how far it is from the basket, and I try and think back to a time when I've made that putt before. Because I practice block and random practicing, I know that I've made that distance before. I know that I can do it. And I remind myself of that this putt is attainable. I can make this putt. Now that I've reached my lie, I figure out what's gonna be the most comfortable footing. And by having a comfortable stance, I know I'm gonna be the most confident in my putt. After finding my stance, next I look to find a good grip on my putter. For me, this looks like spinning the disc around in my hand until I've gotten around all the bumps and scratches and find a smooth part of the disc to where I can feel like I have a good, strong grasp on that putter. Now I just enter my normal pre-putt routine, and then I dial it in and take the putt. Thank you for watching the video today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below and consider subscribing. I'm gonna be posting weekly content all about disc golf every week. And so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification, and if there's something you want to see, leave a comment down below and I'll see if I can make it happen. Until next time.